So today, Donald Trump and the White House are celebrating a new plane. They tweet out, America first, American flag, and he's got the plane there with lots of gold on his desk. America first, 250, you can see it there. He's smiling. He was also tweeting out today, potential marble armrests, right? This is in the Kennedy Center, and Newswire writes, Trump touts marble armrests for Kennedy Center while millions struggle to afford groceries and rent. And according to Trump, this will be unlike anything ever done or seen before. So he's celebrating marble armrest, new planes. I want to show you how regular Americans are living. This is a guy who just got a medical bill for the first time. I think he's a millennial, he said. And have a listen for yourself how much it costs.
I'm an elder millennial who just got my first hospital bill after my first time ever staying in the hospital. This is extortion. This is why everyone hates our medical system. $41,000. So I was in the hospital for less than 24 hours for high blood pressure. I had no surgery, no CAT scan, no MRI, nothing of that nature. My bill is absolutely ridiculous. The labs and chemistry, $10,000. $2,000 for labs. Blood culture, $4,400. And then, if you look at the back, it gets even worse. You have $12,000 for emergency room care. $1,000, $3,000 for these observation room visits. $800 each for physical therapy and PT. Like, this is insane. This is extortion in every single way. I don't know how people do this. This is my first time, and I'm shook.
And for those of you who've ever dealt with the U.S. healthcare system, you know that costs are through the roof. They're ridiculous. If you don't know, half of our community actually come from outside the USA, so you may not necessarily know how high the cost is. It's ludicrous, and this is why people in the USA go to bankrupt if they get sick, right, and try to go to the hospital. And so there's another issue also where many Americans will I'm just not going to go to the doctor at all, right? And then they kind of have no idea how the healthcare system works whatsoever because they never go. And then you get all sorts of issues with that. I'll just say this, that like a lot of things in the USA are broken, but I just want to show you just real world people experiences. This person has a really good write-up though, talking about GDP, how Trump always tries to tell you you're all rich because of the GDP is skyrocketing, etc. Listen to this. This is a good explanation. So it says, an American goes to the ER for high blood pressure, stays under 24 hours, okay? No surgery, no CT, no MRI, and gets a $41,000 bill. Lovely. Now, here's a part of the people miss when it gets discussed economically. That $41,000 fully counts toward the U.S. GDP, right? It says money's moving around. Not because it's useful, but because GDP counts price, transactions, not value or outcomes. And it doesn't stop there. The system creates additional GDP layers around the same visit: hospital, administrative labor, insurance claim processing, billing departments, compliance and coding, insurer overhead and profit. Financial services handle payment and debt, interest if the patient can't pay immediately. So one short ER visit inflates healthcare GDP, inflates services GDP, inflates finance GDP, inflates measured economic activity, even though nothing extra was medically produced. This is why US GDP looks larger than countries with regulated or single-payer healthcare. In Europe, the same visit might cost a few hundred euros, involve minimal billing, and generate far less economic activity on paper. Same patient, same outcome, wildly different GDP contribution. And I showed you guys this before in the last video, sort of how maybe GDP is going up. Maybe it is the golden age for Trump's people, but it doesn't necessarily benefit you. I also want to show you another American, right? These are just regular people on the ground showing their bills. This is for education.
I'd like to know what type of crack Sally Mae is smoking that they think for the amount of $40,922 they should receive back $118,305.59. Well, I understand that this is an estimated cost. The fact that for financing the money, they want $77,383.59 is asinine. Now, back in my day when I was in college, I don't even think I paid that much for the 4 years I went to school. So to think they should get that for 1 year of schooling is insane. And I get it. If this is the fixed interest rate, 13.500%, and then the APR is 13.474%. But then they got the audacity to tell me that to finance this $40,922, they should receive $77,303.59 is the most SMD.
Right. So she was saying basically total cost of this loan is going to be 118. 1 year is 40. It's kind of what they're saying at a rate of 13.5%. And I want to hear from people outside the USA. What's the cost of education where you live, be it if you're in Asia or Europe, Canada? Because what they do, and this would be the Republicans and the Trumpers, they always say, oh, well, if we change our system and if we make healthcare affordable, or if we make education affordable, you're going to lose all your freedoms. Oh, right? That's how they try to scare you. And it's just like, I don't know. I mean, living in America with these kind of bills doesn't seem like free to me. And, this is another one. This is a cost of living, this stuff, right? This is a car loan here. It says amount financed by new car loans at finance companies. So basically, car costs are going up. This person writes here, the U.S. car affordability crisis is worsening. The average price of a new car is now up to a record $50,000, according to Kelley Blue Book. It's so ridiculous. This is so much money. And cars are a depreciating asset. You shouldn't dump too much money in this stuff. And not only that, people go into debt. They'll go like on multi-year loans. It's just a black hole. And this is part of like what really keeps, I mean, there's a lot of things that keep Americans underwater, but if you don't say fund public transportation or build cities that are walkable or bicycle friendly, which I think is great. In the USA, there's people out there that think like bicycles aren't cool. And I'm just telling you the truth, guys. You go to other cities around the world, bicycles are pretty cool. So is walking, so is jogging, so is exercise. It keeps you healthy. But the American system, right, profits off you being sick, right? They profit off you eating bad food. They profit off you driving cars around, right? And using as much oil as possible. So they don't necessarily want to create a system that's beneficial for humans. And I know I'm a bit of a rant here, but I just want you to see the cost of this stuff because it's frustrating that this is just regular people's, experiences on the ground. Trump and his buddies, they don't know anything about this stuff. Why would they, right? They're born rich. They have no idea about this stuff. More. Meanwhile, the average new car loan amount is up to a record $41,000. Since the start of 2020, the average amount financed on a new vehicle has risen $9,000. It's 28%. Meanwhile, the total auto debt jumped $4 billion in October to an all-time high of $1.56 trillion. Americans are borrowing more than ever to, quote, afford cars. And you remember everyone's hero, I guess, if you're in the MAGA camp, is they love Elon Musk. Says Elon Musk wants you to borrow more money to buy his cars that break and are unsafe, right? This is the kind of world that we live in. And look at this. This is kind of interesting. A lot of various videos and things have been popping up basically comparing Europe to the USA because I guess a lot of Americans are saying that, because of basically what it is. Let me explain this real quick. Basically what it is the Europe put a fine on Elon Musk's platform saying, hey, regulation, transparency, these kind of things we need to do. And Musk is all angry and mad. And so now he's got all his followers hating on Europe. But look, they give you some numbers here. And I want to hear from people in Germany or Europe if these numbers make sense to you. So let's take a look. So first they're talking about rent here. So what is it? 975 euros, say rent in a USA 1743. That's a one bedroom in a city or the city. Childcare, 169 euro. America, $2,000, right? Night in a hospital. Euro, 10 euro. That's in Germany. USA, $3,000. Like the costs are like really different. You can see it right there. This is a really good example because when you compare this stuff, it's like ludicrous how ridiculous it is a cost in the USA. More, you have 300 euro for university per year to 30,000. Driver's license, I guess, basically 3 euro compared to $45, right? So quite a bit different there. Month of groceries, 300 euro in Germany to $600 in the USA. I want to hear people in Germany on this one, if that is indeed the cost of food there. I'm not sure about that one. That one I would question a bit. I can see the healthcare one, I can see the education one, but I'm not sure if necessarily food is cheaper, but it might be. I would say some people in the community might be like, yo, Chris, I spend more, like $2,000 on food in USA. I've heard people say that. Now, but groceries though could be defined as, say, more grocery, like supermarket, opposed to food in general. But yeah, I want to hear on that one. What else we got here? They're comparing here. Pro sports team season tickets. In Germany, they say you can go to a pro sports game, 300 euro. This would be a year, then a season, right? USA, 3,000. That depends on where your seating section is. I'll just say this. I live here in Korea, and sports are really affordable. We have a professional baseball team. I want to say last time we went, it's about 16,000 Korean won, which ends up being about, say, 10, 15 bucks. And then if you want to go to the higher, tier seats, maybe you can spend like 20, 30 bucks. So it's kind of in that range. This idea of spending anywhere, that's for a game, spending like 100 bucks for a game or 200 bucks, or some people in USA, they spend, in the thousands. Same with concert tickets. Concert tickets, sporting events are really expensive in USA. So I'd be curious your thoughts on this one. I just don't go to, football matches in Germany, so I don't know. But I wouldn't be shocked, though, because I do know that in the USA, the prices they charge these things is outrageous, to be frank. Cell phone plan. I think this one's probably accurate. 30 euro in Germany, $90 in USA. If you're curious, here in Korea, I think it's about $20. That's with the conversion. It's like in that realm. It's like I get my bill and it's just not that much. And if you're curious, we pay roughly, I think, $20 or $30 for fast internet, and it'd be faster than anything you can get in the USA. So phone and internet, it's like, 40, 50 bucks a month in that range. It's just not that much. So, and I'm pretty sure that Germany I wouldn't be shocked if it's kind of roughly the same. I don't know about the speeds of internet in Germany. I can't speak on that in Europe, but yeah, $90 in USA for your cell phone plan. I know it gets really expensive these days for sure. And your internet's really expensive in USA also. What else we have here? Minimum paid maternity leave. 12 weeks, Germany, they say 0 days in USA. I think that depends on your employer and stuff like that. I know Republicans always push back on that stuff. They just want you to keep working overtime, etc. Let's see what else we have. And these are just comparisons again. Petrol. Now this would be where USA does have an advantage. So the Europe, right? So what is it? Saying 6.89. That's usually per liter, but they're doing it per gallon, so they must have converted it there. And then $3 in the USA. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts on that one. I think gas prices have come down a little bit according to Gas Buddy on the nation's average, but each state varies widely on these things. What else we have here? Martial arts gym, just like kind of regular stuff. 60 in euro. I'm assuming this would be monthly, maybe. I'm not sure. They don't say. 200 in the US. Wedding, 15. This would be 1,000 for a wedding in Germany. USA, 50,000. Now these costs can go all over the map. So that's not a great comparison because it can go all over the map. But there are some minimum costs to a wedding, or, you could argue in USA you can go to Vegas and get married. Drive-through wedding. No, seriously. I don't know if you can do that kind of stuff in Europe. You guys have drive-through weddings. I just don't know. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. But yeah, I would agree though, if you want a big wedding, things can get really, really expensive. Whether or not it's that much different, I can't comment on that one. I don't get married every day. Public restroom. This one, that was an interesting one. We were in Europe, and I was actually surprised we had to pay. We were in a shopping mall that would have been in Prague, and yeah, they had to pay for the restroom. That was a bit weird to me. I didn't have any cash on me, so we didn't go to the bathroom. I know I'd never seen that before. In free restroom, but hey, if I have to pay and it keeps everything clean, and I don't have people like living in the bathroom, etc., I'm okay with that. But to each their own. And what else we got here? Cappuccino, €3, Germany, $5. So that ends up being about the same cost. Okay, fair enough. About the same. Ice cream, €150, $5 in USA. Is ice cream cheaper in Europe? That's an interesting one. I want to hear from people in Europe on this one. But it's good to talk about this stuff in an honest way. I'm showing you guys some things I know, some things I don't know. Now, Trumpy, he's going to say, guys, I got your solution here, right? We're going to have marble chairs. We're going to have a new plane. And you're going to get clean coal, according to Trump, as if coal will ever be clean. But that's what they're saying. They're pushing that stuff out there, and they want to drill everywhere, of course. And then you got this, and I want to show you like how your laws and things like that in USA, how that affects your life. So this is a really good example of why you may want regulation. So Fox News is from them. Status grounded. What's going on now? American Airlines is changing how millions of travelers earn rewards on its cheapest tickets. Under the new policy, basic economy fares will no longer earn American Airline Advantage miles or loyalty points toward elite status. The change applies to tickets booked on or after December 17th. And it just says American Airlines ends miles program on basic economy tickets. So basically what you're seeing, and I think something like this could maybe not happen in various countries depending on what regulations are, but basically shrinkflation, right? You're going to end up paying more for stuff in USA and you're going to get less value. So in this case, ending your loyalty program kind of thing. And I want to give you an example because I know if you watch Trumpy stuff and Elon Musk, they say, "Oh, I hate regulations. It just holds back everything," right? So I want to give you a point of view. This is what the European Commission just tweeted out today, and I'm actually for this one. I think it's a good one. They say one port, one cable, one Europe. Okay. This holiday, unwrap the power of one USB-C for all. It's the USB-C cables. Okay. Yes, not just phones, tablets, and laptops. In 3 years, every charger will be under the same tree because less waste, smarter choices mean more for everyone all year long. I'm a big proponent of this one, actually. This was actually a pretty big deal. For those of you who are into the tech space, if you have an iPhone, you'll know that iPhone and Apple, they use that stupid lightning charger thing. I hate that thing. And they use it for a long time. And, you'd have advances in technology, but Apple wouldn't necessarily adapt. And basically what Apple would want you to do is buy, adapters, accessories, and all that stuff from them that fits their lightning charger thingy. And Europe's like, yo, if you're going to sell phones in EU, we're going to make a rule that says like phones have to be USB-C, right? And then that opened up a whole world. Sure, it reduced profits for Apple, sure. But from the consumer's point of view, just think about, and I'll just tell you a true story. Like I bought a phone battery recently and it's USB-C and it's just fantastic because I can just charge everything now. Like camera charges with this, right? Phone charges with that, goes into the computer, goes in the wall socket. And it's actually less waste. So I agree with this kind of thing. And this is why you'd want to, legislate something like this because it actually is beneficial to the consumer. And it sort of keeps companies from price gouging you. The same way that like if you regulate, hey, if you're going to have a loyalty program, you got to do it for all of your tickets, not just, one tier and not the other. I'll be interested if that indeed gets challenged in court, this thing. This was just announced today. I'm not shocked by any of this stuff that they're reducing value for you, but that's part of life and why it's important to have discussions about any of these numbers issues and show what real people are experiencing on the ground. So that's my thoughts. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.